This is Dr. Herbert Harrison. This is Success Mentorship Call number 144. And our topic for today is setting and achieving your goals in the new year. Wow. Setting and achieving your goals in the new year. And as many of you know, much of our material is contained in our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success. And of course, you want to always get the Super Achiever edition. It's available on Amazon, most online bookstores, and of course on our website, www.12, the number 12uls.com. So this is an interesting class, and of all the classes that we have done, this is probably one of the most important classes that we've ever done. And the reason is because we're at the beginning of the year, and everybody, and I mean everybody, has this idea that we would like for the new year to be a lot better than the year that we just completed. We would like, in fact, we would like for the new year to be our year for outrageous success. So that being the case, it's just a matter of time before it happens. And the new year has already started. So we're really playing a little bit of catch up, but it's okay. One of the great things about setting and achieving your goals is that you're never out of the game. As long as you have breath and you have life, you can always get back in the game. It's just that you can make it very difficult for yourself if you don't follow certain protocols. So let me open with a couple of quotes, I think, that really help center us. And one says, keep your eyes on the stars and keep your feet on the ground. Keep your eyes on the stars and keep your feet on the ground. And what does that mean? That means that you have to always focus on your vision, your dreams, but keeping your feet on the ground, you've got to keep working at it. You got to actually do things. You got to have a realistic approach to it. Another beautiful quote is, today, dreams don't work unless you do. Let me say that again. Dreams don't work unless you do. So with those two quotes, we're really ready to get into this topic of setting and achieving your goals for this new year. And to put ourselves in the right frame of mind, let us do our meditation. Let us sit straight up in our seats. Let's close our eyes. Let's take a deep breath through our nose. Hold it. Let it out slowly through your mouth. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly through your mouth. Let us affirm, I am at peace with myself. Together, I am at peace with myself. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And in this state of peaceful relaxation, let us affirm, I am open, receptive, and ready to learn together. I am open, receptive, and ready to learn. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly. All right. Wow. Welcome. Thank you so much. Well, today is an incredible day because we're going to be talking about some powerful thoughts. When we talk about setting and achieving our goals for this year, it's very important that we get a foundation for what we're talking about. You know, everything has a foundation. Everything has a proper way to do things, a way things are set up so that they work a certain way. And there's the key to the idea of setting and achieving your goals is to recognize, number one, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. I'll say that again. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And in that light, our most important gift is time. Time and life, two sides of the coin. Time and life. And so when we talk about this success journey, this idea of setting and achieving your goals for this new year, it's really in the context of time. How do you live your life? How do you use the hours that you have allocated? And then how do you live your life? How do you express your life? And so consider this. There are three primary aspects to all that we do. One, of course, is time, which is eternal. Life, which is our personal consciousness and relationship with the eternal time stream. And then health, which is how we take care of our body. In other words, we are experiencing the phenomenon of life in human form through our bodies. Let me admit some other people. Okay, very good. So we are experiencing our life over time in our bodies. And so it is important in all that we do to honor that. There's an Arabian proverb that says, he who has health has hope. He who has hope has everything. And so all that we do, we must remember this bigger context of life, time, and health. And so it is on this platform that we now talk about the idea of setting and achieving our goals. Without these three, we're just blowing in the wind. When we look at the context of time, life, and health, then we're looking at it in terms of some other basic principles. The principle that life unfolds according to certain laws. And so once again, there's a three-pronged statement here that there's law, which is the universal laws, the laws of gravity, the laws of thought, the laws of manifestation, the laws of change, the laws of magnetism. In other words, they're all of the laws by which the universe operates. And then there's order. And that is really the process by which these laws operate. And then there's change. So there's law, order, and change. And change is a recognition that time is eternal and that everything that happens, every moment of existence happens in a period of change. Nothing remains the same because time never repeats itself. So therefore, it's always about change. So when we talk about creating a successful year, when we talk about setting and achieving our goals for this new year, it's really about how do we use the time we have available in accordance with the laws of the universe and the process by which they operate so that we can facilitate the changes that will take us where we want to go. Wow. So how does this process take place? How does this change take place? How do we interpret these, we might say, philosophical concepts in terms of what we actually do to make this year our year for outrageous success, to help us achieve our goals? Well, from a very practical point of view, we must live our lives in accord with the 3 B's. And the 3 B's are, number one, by the book. That whatever we do, we must write things down. We must write our goals. We must write our plans. We must write our actions. We must write our summaries. We must write it down. The scripture says, write the vision and make it plain upon tablets. So whatever we do, there must be a writing. So we must live by the book. Number 2, we must live by the clock. This is an acknowledgement of the time foundation on which everything is done. So as we live our lives in a certain way, it's according to time. And so how we utilize that time determines the level and extent of the success we achieve. And then the 3rd B was live by the calendar. By the calendar is a realization that everything lives in seasons and cycles. So you have seasons. If we look at the physical calendar, we have the seasons of winter, spring, summer, fall. We have the seasons of months, 12 months of the year. We have the seasons of days, sunrise, sunset, day, night. And so to recognize that it's all about seasons and cycles. And so to achieve the success we want, we really have to keep a record. We have to utilize our time efficiently, and we have to be in harmony, in a harmonic relationship with the cycles. So with this foundation, we can now talk about setting and achieving our goals for this new year. And so 3 things we need to really be effective in setting our goals and achieving our goals. Number 1, we must have what I'll call them real goals. Let's say a real goal. So many times we confuse statements of thought with a goal. A goal must have certain characteristics. A goal must be smart. A goal must be specific. Everybody says, oh, I want to be happy. Well, what does that mean? What are the specific steps that indicate happiness? What is the vision of your happiness? What is the specific things you have to do to become happy? How do you know when you're happy? So it must be specific. It must be measurable. You have to have a way to keep score, because activity is the proof of the pudding. And activity takes place over time. So there's always a beginning and an ending. So it must be measurable so that you can now put the things that you want into a time action context. A, it must be set in advance. You must focus on the target. You must see the target. You can't hit a target you can't see. And so success requires you to know where you're going, to have a place that you want to be. Aura, it must be realistic and relevant. It must be realistic for you at a particular time and point in time and space. Nothing is impossible. It's just that it hasn't been done yet. If we look back over history, we will see where so many things were considered to be impossible. The 4-minute mile was impossible. Man flying was impossible. There were so many things that were impossible that are now possible. So it must be possible and realistic based on where you are at a particular time. As your consciousness grows and you become more knowledgeable and more understanding and more congruent with the source of your powers, then possibility and impossibility change. Then, of course, it must cover a time period. So specific, measurable, set in advance, realistic and relevant, and cover a certain time period. So you got to have a real goal. You got to give some thought to that. Number 2, you've got to have a strong why. You know, when you set a goal, you've got to have an emotional relationship with that goal. It's got to be a real reason that you want to achieve it. You know, we often say probably the number 1 goal for most of us, for many of us, is, I want to lose weight. Well, why do you want to lose weight? You know, well, first you got to be specific about it. How much? Percentage of your weight, how many pounds? It's got to be measurable. But most importantly, it's got to be a why. What's the desire, the level of desire you have to achieve that goal? And so that why is like extremely important. You want to get rich. Well, why do you want to get rich? Well, maybe it's because you don't want to ever have that feeling of being broke again. Maybe it's because you don't want to ever stand there and look at things that you really want badly and you can't get them. Maybe it's just that security of knowing that you've taken care of all your needs and there's still some left, and you're free to pursue your higher goals. So your why, spend some time on that. Everything that you say you want, be clear on why you want it, because your why is directly related to your level of desire. And then the 3rd thing, putting some spiritual principle to work. Know where to get help. Create a support network. You know, the Bible says, when 2 or more gathered on one accord, I am among them. I am is the making power, the power to get things done, the power to magnify so that 1 + 1 is more than 2. And so you must recognize that goal achievement, life achievement realization of that which you desire is not an individual activity, it's a team sport. So you need to know who can you turn to for help. We often call it accountability, you know, in every success platform, you know, whether you're selling houses, cars, whether you just want to keep your job, there's always some type of metrics, some accountability system, because the one thing that is absolutely true is that activity requires a frequency. You can work a little and get a little. You can work a lot and get a lot. And so that idea of a support network and how to leverage your vibrations through the power of the mastermind is awesome. So let's look at the specific process that we go through to accomplish our full year goal. Now this is, you know, when I think about some of the things I love doing, the first step in this process is to set a goal for 1 year. And when we think about that, we say, well, what do you mean set a goal for 1 year? Well, you must set the goal for the year, the full year, because you can't plan for a goal that you don't have. So many times we get so involved with the nowness. If I can just get through the day, that's true. If you can just get through the day, it's a big help. But that's not all there is. So set a goal for 1 year. And when I say set a goal for 1 year, do it in a totality, in a total fashion. What do I mean? To look at the areas of your life. For example, there are roughly 6 areas of your life. There can be more, but let's just focus on 6 areas of your life. You look at your personal goals, you know, your weight goals, your study goals, your personal goals, the things about you personally. You look at your family goals. What are the things that you want to happen with your family? How do you want your family to be at the end of this year? You look at your spiritual goals. Where do you want to fit into the context of reality? Do you need to read more? Do you need to meditate more? Do you need to appeal to a higher level of power? You know, sometimes we can be so stuck in the presence of life that we don't see the life preserver coming down from higher consciousness. Sometimes we can just think ourselves out of a challenge, but we have to do that. We have to think ourselves out of that challenge. So spiritual goals, meditation, things like that. Your professional goals. Many of us have jobs. Many of us have professions. There's something that you do to fulfill the purpose of your life, the purpose of your existence. Also, you know, to obtain the money you need to live. So your professional goals. There are also some financial goals. You know, money is the substance. Money substance is something that is necessary to create an environment of freedom. You see, until we solve the riddle of survival, until we're able to provide the necessities to ourselves and to our families in a way that we don't have to continue to trade away our time to get them on a consistent basis, we need to have some type of financial plan. And we need to have a community plan. How do we fit into our world? How do we want our community to look? Do we want it to be a safe community where people can go in their yards and be safe and happy? Or do you want it to be one where everybody's locked up, where everybody's got 3 or 4 locks on their door and bars at the windows? And so this first idea of setting your goal for this year, and all of this takes time, folks. But I think it was Benjamin Franklin said, if you're going to cut a tree down, you spend 90% of the time sharpening the axe. And so this is sharpening the axe. So when you set that goal for 1 year in these different areas, write them down. Write them down specifically according to the goal setting formula. Write them down specifically, measurably, in advance, realistic, and covering a time period. So when you set a goal for that 1 year, we're going to write down each and every goal for that year. You want to be able to place it around so you can see it and read it over and over and over and over during the time, during the day. You know, every goal setting program says, put your goals on paper and read them 3 or 4 times a day, and say, well, why is that? Because you're programming your mind for success. The more we can program our mind, the higher vibration we create in our consciousness, which makes us more magnetic to attract those things into our lives. Be sure when you write your goals for each year, write a statement of the goal, write the date that you want to accomplish it by, the date that you must start, and this is critical, how much time it will take. You said many times we'll write when we want to start a goal and start at it and when we want to accomplish it, but we don't give full awareness and full consciousness to how much time it takes. As I often talk about the farmer who wants to feed his family by planting corn. No matter how good a farmer is, how his level of expertise, or how high quality the corn seed is, there's a cycle that corn takes 60 to 90 days to grow. And so the time to start, the time you want it completed, and the amount of time that it takes. That gives you a good, you're putting into your consciousness the actual steps and how these steps will manifest. Step 2, to determine what must be done to accomplish your full year goal. And so you want to write down each and everything that must be done, each and every activity, each and every step that must be done to guide you to your full year goal. Be very specific in detail. List the things that must be done in the order of their importance, the date the activity must be started, when it must be completed, and how long it's going to take. Once you've written that down for the whole year, then step 3 is now to take those things that you wrote down, those action principles to achieve your year and the dates you put upon them. Step 3 now is to organize them so that you can set monthly goals. So that now the things that you say have to be done to accomplish your monthly goal now have dates on them, and now you can organize them according to the months. When you set those monthly goals, these monthly goals will lead you to your full year goal because you saw it that way. Make a list of the things that must be done to accomplish your full year goal and arrange them by date to be started and date to be completed and how long they take. Review your priorities so that you always have the most important things at the top of the list. These items listed by dates become your monthly goals. And so then step 4 becomes now to determine what must be done to accomplish each of your monthly goals. So now you have your list of monthly goals, which you develop from your annual goals and the list of things to accomplish your annual goals. And so now you have your monthly goals laid out, and step 4 is key. Focus on your first month's goals. See, the interesting thing about life is you can't get to tomorrow without going through today. You can't get to next week without going through this week. And so you focus on your first month's goals, organize the items laid out in your first month's goals, again, according to the date to be completed, the date to be started, and the time that they take. Once you've laid out the steps and the things that must be done to accomplish your monthly goals, then step 5 now is to set weekly goals based on that list of time activities to accomplish your first month's goals. You set weekly goals now for the first month. Once you set those weekly goals for the first month, you have now grouping week number 1, week number 2, week number 3. Pay particular attention to the time you start and to the time you complete and to the time it takes to accomplish them. Once you've written down the weekly goals, so we assume the month has 4 weeks, we'll write down these 4 goals for each week. Then step 6 is to determine what must be done to accomplish the goals for the first week of the first month. Folks, the rubber's getting ready to hit the road. It's on now. Because once you determine what must be done to accomplish the goals for the first week of the first month, you now literally analyze that first week's goals in great detail, determine each and every action that must be performed to accomplish those first week's goals, the priority, the date to be started and the date to end, and the time it takes. So now once we've laid out these goals for that first week, step 7 now is to set daily goals for the first week of the first month. Folks, this is the real deal. If you don't break it down to this level of detail, then whatever you say you desire, the things you want to accomplish this year may not happen. This is your insurance plan. When you set the goals for that first week and you list the things that must be done that week with the daily goals for each day of that week, you are now setting yourself up for step 8, which is to determine each and every activity that must be performed each day to accomplish your daily goals. So now you've gone from the year to the month to the week to the day. So now you have Monday's goals, Tuesday's goals, Wednesday's goals. And a big error is to do Monday's goals and don't do Tuesday, don't do Wednesday. If you don't see your weekly goal and break it down into these daily activities, they will not happen. So number 8, you determine the actions that must be performed each day to accomplish your daily goals. List each day's actions in the order of their importance, the time to start, the time to be completed, and schedule when the action must be done each day. Very often people make that mistake. They'll write the list of things to do, but they don't have a schedule of when they must be done. Tony Robbins always said, if you don't schedule it, it won't get done. And on a daily basis, that's critical, because when you don't schedule it on a particular time that day, that means it won't get done, probably won't get done, which means that impacts tomorrow. Step 9, keep a record of your achievement. When you can work from a list, we say live by the book. This is that book I'm talking about. When you can work from your book, then you cross out each item on your daily list as you complete it. Your goal is to complete everything you set out to do each day, so at the end of your day, everything is done. If you don't complete everything today, then merge it over with tomorrow for the next day. In other words, it's got to get done. If you didn't do it today, it's even more critical that you do it tomorrow. And so when you monitor your results and you keep a record of your achievement, you can really see that you need to up your game. You need to spend more time. You need to really see how, okay, 2 hours a day is not getting it. I need to do 4 hours a day. Step 10, to learn from past failures, but don't let them slow you down. This is critical, because once you start that daily activity of writing down a list, there will be times when you get to the end of the day and nothing is crossed off. Maybe you had 10 things to do and you only did 1 or 2 of them. And it can be frustrating. Don't let these frustrations, don't let past failures slow you down. Learn from them. So you may realize, you're like, you know what? I'm wasting too much time each day. You may look and you say, you know what? I'm putting too many things into the day. I need to spread it out. I'm setting myself up for failure. You want to analyze each day's activities and determine what's slowing you down. If it's time allocation, be more diligent and protective of your time. That whatever it is, you want to be aware of the results that you're getting in light of the goals that you set. Number 11, this is key. Avoid wasting time. We're back to that time element. Everything that you want to be doing have this year is in a time context. Time cannot be repeated or replaced. The main obstacle to completing each day's activities is improper use of your time. I'm going to say that again. The main obstacle to completing each day's activities, when you write your list of things to be done, is improper use of your time. Each moment, you have to ask yourself, what is the best use of my time right now when I consider the goals I have for today, when I consider what I want to set out to accomplish today, this week, this month, this year? Because once you've broken it down like that, your annual goal really depends on what you do today. Step 12, to repeat this procedure without fail. Repeat the weekly routine each week. Repeat the daily routine each day so that every day you evaluate your performance, you make adjustments, you resolve to do better. Each week you evaluate your performance, you make adjustments, you resolve to do better. Each month you do the same thing. So this process of evaluation, of constantly reviewing, monitoring, and revising your performance and your plans is what makes you get better. And then finally, the 13th step is to hang in there. Stick to your goal until it is accomplished. You wrote it. You have a why. So hang in there until it's done. A winner never quits, and a winner never quits. A winner never quits, and a quitter never wins. There's a beautiful poem by C.W. Longnecker, and it really says very poignant about this. If you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, don't. If you like to win but think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high and rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. Sooner or later, the woman who wins is the woman who thinks she can. And so it's in this context that we go back and let's review now what we have to do to set and achieve our goals for this year. Number one, we got to look at that three-pronged stool, the foundation of all that is, that everything we do is in the time, life, and health context. Time is eternal. Life is our conscious relationship at time for a particular period, and health is how we honor our bodies. Two, we must understand that everything operates according to law, order, and change. We cannot not participate. Inaction is inaction. You're always in the game. Number three, we must live by the 3 B's, by the book, that we must write and maintain a record of everything we do. Every company requires business records. Your life requires success records. We must live by the clock to realize that proper use of our time is critical to achieving our goals. And we must live by the calendar to understand that there are cycles and seasons, and whatever we do must be congruent with them. We must realize that the critical thing towards achieving our goals this year is to have clearly defined goals, to have a deep desire of why they will not be satisfied without achieving them, and to understand that it's a team sport, that we'll need help, and we'll need help people to surround us to help us. And then, of course, we follow that 13-step process of setting and achieving a goal for a year and break it all the way down until we get to the step of what we do right now, today. It's all about today, folks. And so I'll close with this. Your daily mission is to start each day with a positive mental attitude. Visualize and focus on your goals. Carefully make your plans. Write them down in detail. List the things that must be done, and use every hour of every day to execute your plans effectively to produce desired results. At the end of the day, you can ask yourself the daily question: did I do everything I could today to make tomorrow the way that I want it to be? If you follow this formula, this information today, then you'll be able to answer that question each night and say, today, I did everything I could with what I have to do it with, to make tomorrow the way I want it to be. If you make every tomorrow the way you want it to be today, then every week will unfold the way you want it to be. Every month will be another step towards achieving your goals. And every year will be another year for outrageous, incredible success. Always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is. Thank you so much for joining us today, folks. You know, all of our messages, all of our daily readings, all of our success mentorship classes, we have collected them on our Success Mentorship Network. And it's important in your journey this year to be connected with a source for knowledge and information and a relationship with people who are going places, who want to do things. And so I implore you to join us on the Success Mentorship Network. Go to our website, our Patreon site, www.patreon.com/Success Mentorship Network. Join us, get access to all this material. When we do our live programs on Saturday afterwards, we'll have a discussion group, and as you're part of the network, you can participate in our live discussions. So whatever you do, though, do everything that you can to be the person you want to be, to do the things you want to do, and to have whatever you want to have, always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is.